We're 1 minute away from picking up the count for the final 9 minutes of the countdown in today's launch. The countdown simply a series of checks that people go through in preparations to ensure that everything is ready for flight. The countdown for a launch like the 51L mission is 4 volumes and more than 2,000 pages. "15 seconds away from resuming the countdown and looking at a launch of 51L at 11:38. And we're at T-minus 9 minutes and counting. The ground launch sequencer program has been initiated.
Your APU bus recorder?
Yes, will do.
And LPS place all printer plotters online.
LPS copy.
And ISL, I'll need your verification when you get motion on the aft recorder.
ISL copy. Yes, PM1015 was not performed.
T-minus 8 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. The flight instrument recorders are turned on. Mission control has turned on the auxiliary data system. This package collects data from the aerodynamic information coming back as the orbiter flies through the atmosphere. Coming up on the 8-minute point. T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
Transmission of stored program command.
Orbiter test conductor Roberta Wyrick has requested that Houston send the stored program commands, which is the final update on antenna management based on the liftoff time, and sets the system which makes the orbiter compatible with downrange tracking stations.
Okay, that's complete.
T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds, and the ground launch sequencer has started retracting the orbiter crew access arm. This is the walkway used by the astronauts to climb in the vehicle, and that arm can be put back in place within about 15 to 20 seconds if an emergency should arise. Coming up on the 7-minute point in the countdown. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. The next major step will be when pilot Mike Smith is given a go to perform the auxiliary power unit pre-start. T-minus 6 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
JRPS, start your hydraulic bus recorder.
Roger, will come.
Coming up on the 6-minute point in our countdown. T-minus 6 minutes, and orbiter test conductor has given pilot Mike Smith a go to perform the auxiliary power unit pre-start. Mike has reported back that it's in work. He will configure switches in the cockpit to put the auxiliary power units in the ready-to-start configuration.
Copy that, thank you.
Mike Smith reporting that pre-start is complete. T-minus 5 minutes, 30 seconds and counting, and Mission Control has transmitted the signal to start the onboard flight recorders. The 2 recorders will collect measurements of shuttle system performance during flight to be played back after the mission. Coming up on the 5-minute point, this is a major milestone where we go for auxiliary power unit starts. T-minus 5 minutes.
Okay, let's go for orbiter APU start.
CLT, OTC, perform APU start.
And we've had the pilot ordered to perform the APU restart. LOX replenish has been terminated and liquid oxygen drain back has been initiated. Pilot Mike Smith now flipping the 3 switches in the cockpit to start each of the 3 auxiliary power units. T-minus 4 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. The solid rocket booster and external safe and arm devices have been armed. We've had a report back from Mike Smith that we have 3 good auxiliary power units. Main fuel valve heaters on the 3 shuttle main engines have been turned on in preparation for engine start. T-minus 4 minutes and counting. The flight crew has been reminded to close their airtight visors on their launch and entry helmets, and a final purge sequence of the main engines is underway. T-minus 3 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. The orbiter aerosurface test has started. The orbiter flight control surfaces are now being moved through a pre-programmed pattern to verify that they are ready for launch. T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Orbiter ground support equipment power bus has been turned off and the vehicle is now on internal power. T-minus 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Aerosurface checks are complete and aerosurfaces in launch configuration. Gimbal checks of the orbiter's main engines now underway. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. Gimbal checks now complete.
Okay, let's go for EP LO2 pressurization.
External tank liquid oxygen pressurization is started and purging of the shuttle main engines is terminated. T-minus 2 minutes, 44 seconds and counting. Retraction is started of the gaseous oxygen vent hood. And the ground launch sequencer will make a final check to make sure the vent arm is fully retracted at T-minus 37 seconds.
OTC, BLT, caution warning, memories cleared, no unexpected errors.
Copy.
T-minus 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and we've had the pilot Mike Smith has cleared the caution and memory system. No unexpected errors reported. Liquid oxygen ullage pressure checks are underway, and the liquid oxygen tank approaching flight pressure. T-minus 2 minutes and counting. The liquid hydrogen replenish has been terminated and liquid hydrogen pressurization to flight level is underway. The vehicle is now isolated from all ground propellant and fluid loading equipment. T-minus 1 minute, 44 seconds and counting. Coming up on the 92nd point in our countdown. 90 seconds and counting. The 51L mission ready to go. The liquid hydrogen tank now at flight pressure and all 3 engines ready to go. Coming up on the 1 minute point in our countdown. T-minus 1 minute and counting. Sound suppression water system now armed. The hydrogen burn igniters have been armed. These igniters will be fired at T-minus 10 seconds to burn off any residual hydrogen gas. T-minus 45 seconds and counting. The solid rocket booster flight instrumentation recorders have gone into the record mode. Coming up on the 32nd point in our countdown. T-minus 30 seconds, and we've had a go for auto sequence start. The SRB hydraulic power units have started. T-minus 21 seconds, and the solid rocket booster engine gimbal now underway. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Now controlling.
Roger, roll, Challenger.
Good, roll program confirmed. Challenger now heading downrange. Engines beginning throttling down now at 94%. Normal throttles for most of the flight, 104%. We'll throttle down to 65% shortly. Engines at 65%, 3 engines running normally, 3 good fuel cells, 3 good APUs. Velocity 2,257 feet per second. Altitude 4.3 nautical miles, downrange distance 3 nautical miles. Engines throttling up, 3 engines now at 104%.
Challenger, go at throttle up.
Challenger, go at throttle up.
1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles. Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction. We have no downlink. We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. Flight director confirms that. We are looking at checking with the recovery forces to see what can be done at this point. Contingency procedures are in effect. We will report more as we have information available. Again, to repeat, we have a report relayed through the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. We are now looking at all the contingency operations and awaiting word from any recovery forces in the downrange field. This is Mission Control Houston. We have no additional word at this time. Reports from the flight dynamics officer indicate that the vehicle apparently exploded and that impact in the water at a point approximately 28.64 degrees north, 80.28 degrees west. We are awaiting verification from as to the location of the recovery forces in the field to see what may be possible at this point. And we will keep you advised as further information becomes available. This is Mission Control. This is Mission Control Houston. We are coordinating with recovery forces in the field. Range safety equipment, recovery vehicles intended for the recovery of the SRB in the general area. Those parachutes believed to be paramedics going into that area. To repeat, we had a apparently normal ascent with the data coming to all positions being normal up through approximately the time of main engine throttle back up to 104%. approximately a minute or so into the flight, there was an apparent explosion. The flight dynamics officer reported, tracking reported that the vehicle had exploded and impacted the water in an area approximately located at 28.64 degrees north, 80.28 degrees west. Recovery forces are proceeding to the area, including ships and a C-130 aircraft. Flight controllers reviewing their data here in Mission Control. We will provide you with more information as it becomes available. This is Mission Control, Houston.